Hello and welcome back to Podcasting as Praxis. I'm David, my pronouns are he and him.
I'm James, my pronouns are they and them.
I'm Jamie, my pronouns are he and him.
And I'm Rob, mine are also he and him.
It's too hot. We don't want to be doing this.
Yeah, it's so... Well, you know, it's not that bad.
I don't know if I can keep podcasting if the heat continues to be like, a warm 19 degrees Celsius like this continually.
You are so, bitch made. It's like 32 degrees here.
I'm sitting at plus 25 because...
Well, Rob, you just shouldn't live closer to the fucking sun, should you?
He's got you there, Rob.
It's just better here. Look, I can keep flying just a little while longer. You're not my dad.
Rob planned to live in the shadow of a mountain, but unfortunately didn't realise the sun moved, and alas...
I'm still not over the fact that, the sun doesn't revolve around me personally, so I don't want to get into this.
Who would have ever known you were a podcaster? I think this is going to be a pretty standard episode of news, little article read, and Jamie has once again prepared some delights in his new role as... I don't know.
This is becoming a fucking
job title now,
to be honest.
Take Finder
Well,
General.
yeah, it does that. Yeah, there's a reason that I divested myself of this responsibility and foisted it upon you.
Yeah, well, next week you're just going to get 4 different descriptions of the fucking Pingu with his folded arms meme.
Commentariat. Aye. Well, let's kick off. James, you have prepared the news for this week, haven't you? So why don't we just fucking launch in?
I wouldn't go so far as to call it news, but
is everything still fucked? Because that's not new.
Well, I mean, depends on perspective. Let's start off on a brown note, shall we? Elon Musk and Mark Zuckerberg are having whatever a fight isn't. I don't know if you guys have seen this, given it's been fucking everywhere. But Elon and Zuckerberg said they were going to have a fight.
Elon Musk is the worst fucking children's cartoon that ITV ever produced.
Elon and Musk will be the resulting, the result of what happens when that brain chip gets put in him and it just fucks him right up.
Elon and Musk is, it is a children's cartoon, and whenever Grimes is not on screen, everyone should be asking, where's Grimes?
What if Jekyll and Hyde were both cunts?
Also directed by Stephen Moffat.
I don't know.
But yeah, so they're meant to be having a fight. Except first it was Musk had to go get some surgery done or something.
First his mom said no, and then and then his fucking spine fell out, and then
and then he had a girlfriend in Canada or something.
Coaster, and then he had to visit his fucking his third grandma.
Yeah,
who was very ill.
Zuckerberg, credit to him, basically said, all right, it's clear that Elon isn't serious whatsoever, so I'm just moving on from this bullshit. Which caused Elon to fucking go to Zuckerberg's house and knock on the door last night.
Did he actually do that? Did he?
Yeah,
he did.
How close did he get to the house before Zuckerberg's sniper teams just he was covered in laser beams basically?
He's rich enough that his own contingent were busy battling them whilst he was on the doorstep. But he
would have to go to his house because there's no way that either of them have ever heard of an Aldi car park.
But yeah, he literally tweeted from the doorstep saying, "Knock knock, challenge accepted, open the door," at Zuckerberg, and then followed up with, "Thought you might want some tea, so I brought the bags."
Did Zuckerberg reply with screaming, "I will never log off," or was that not part of the equation?
No, Zuckerberg replied saying, "I'm out of the country."
I mean,
just what a loser would say.
There's a 100% chance fucking Musk knew that before he bothered.
Yeah, I think
100%.
so too.
Probably using some sort of private jet tracker.
Yeah.
It reminds me of that whole It's Always Sunny scene where it's I challenge you to a duel, and the lawyer's yeah, okay. Oh, well, you'll need to get a gun. I've got one in my drawer right here. Just, it's that kind of
do you know what it reminds me of, though? The Elon Musk
good of you to dive on that grenade
in
before
so
Rob.
many ways, Jamie, like Elon is the one who knocks. That's incredibly correct.
And there goes Rob following you right onto it. But yeah, so, to be fair, right, like, Zuckerberg's saying he'll move on. He does actually have bigger problems right now to focus on, because I don't know if you've caught this, but Meta has started
bigger problems than an insane racist turning up at your house.
Yes,
that's just Christmas in Britain.
Yeah, I was gonna say, that's in Britain. That's what we call Tuesday. It's
Well, maybe the next time the insane racists come over at Christmas, you can just go on the internet onto Facebook and talk to the chatbot personas that they're adding to try and retain users, so you can get fresh doses of racism that way instead, virtually rather than physically. Because the Meta are preparing chatbots to try and keep people on Facebook. That's the level they're at.
Have they considered Have they considered that I would go back to Facebook if they sent a fucking pro wrestler to go around all my racist relatives and hit them with a steel chair? I would come back for that. That would be funny. That's the kind of content people
single-handedly reviving the fucking British steel industry at the same time.
Yeah.
Oh man, British wrestling circuit. If they hired James Stephanie Sterling to go around and do it, then I think that would be even better, just from the sheer number of aneurysms that happened.
Yeah, there's layers to this. We could build this into like a killer app of sorts.
Yeah.
Ideally a killer app that would be helpful actually.
Yeah, very much so.
So, what are these chatbots going to do to keep me on Facebook?
Just engage you in conversation.
Tell you not to go outside because of them.
Yeah. I'm not even kidding. This is the level it's at. It's like there'll be chatbots that you can talk to that'll tell you you're right.
So I can elect to talk to them. They're not going to appear in the Weird Village Facebook page, so people can be suspicious of visitors.
I mean, they might go down the fucking route that all of the dating apps have gone, and just slowly start replacing actual people who post updates with chatbots. But
what they should do is you remember that fucking Black Mirror episode where they get the AI that is trained on the dead guy's account so that it can pretend to be him for his wife.
Uh-huh.
Mm-hmm.
They should do that, but for everyone in the village who's had their computer taken away by the police.
Oh, do you know what this is? This is just going to hamper those fucking vigilante nonce catching groups, because they're immediately going to just be fucking inundated with these people quote and just tying himself up in knots to try and find out who they are.
I really like the idea of to catch an AI, but you still have Chris Hansen. He's just slowly walking up to a server rack, going so
fucking
what do you think you're doing here?
Cyber Chris Hansen, fucking jacking into the Matrix.
It's gonna be like the replicant
to tell
scene.
Clippy he's fucked.
It's gonna be a replicant test scene from Blade Runner, except with a kind of sweaty
nonce buddy.
Middle-aged. Yeah, exactly. Once a nonce buddy hasn't been installed on your Facebook, you can never get rid of it. Your only option is to leave. And speaking of leaving, his other major problem is that
why does nonce buddy keep redirecting me to Silk Road? It says there are great bargains there. I don't understand.
Jesus.
Because it's fucking sponsored by the FBI.
Are you interested in jihad? Comes as a pop-up on the lower right-hand corner of the screen. Would you like to be? No, but his other...
that's Salafi, buddy. That's a whole... That's a whole...
Excellent. No notes. Fantastic. But his other major problem is that Threads, despite its initial groundswell, it has plummeted. And let's play a game.
Is that because it was complete dog shit for idiots?
Yes, it is. But let's play a game. How big a percentage do you think it's down from its starting point?
273.
Okay, it's somewhere it's somewhere south of the lower of those two values. Rob, would you like to take a guess?
But surely it's south of both those values.
Technically true, yes.
Right, I'm gonna go north of the medium boundary of the first.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
So at least 5, but could be more.
I think the number's gone down by such a percentage that it went back in time and didn't exist.
If only. No, it's down 79%.
That's not even a funny number.
It's 10 short.
Swing and a miss, yeah.
Or 10 over, depending on your perspective. But yeah, so, big problem. Threads is crashing and burning, and it's just getting worse as time goes by. So Zuckerberg, he's got real problems to deal with. But he's not alone.
Sorry, just before we move on, have they figured out why? Have they done any sort of introspection? Because I would very much like to hope it was an SEO fuck-up, and everyone that they hoped would be interested in this just now has like kind of nuclear holocaust on me.
I want to know what fucking online platform he's going to fail to recreate next, because obviously this was his shot at Twitter and he missed, and before that the metaverse came for fucking virtual chat or whatever the fuck the kids are into and fucked that up. What if Roblox but more expensive somehow?
No, he's gonna try and do TikTok again and fail again.
What if a bus had legs?
Mortal engines.
Well,
I'm surprised he's got time to fail at fucking online businesses with all of his karate he's doing now or whatever.
Well, a lot of it just fails on its own, really, when you think about it. Speaking about failing on their own, Musk isn't doing so hot either, as it turns out.
Is he dead? Please tell me he's fucking dead.
No, though he is trying. First, there's problems with his new platform X, previously known as Twitter. Australia's national broadcaster just said, "Fuck this noise, we're out." And it seems like other platforms are following. When I say platforms, news platforms are following suit.
Can't imagine why. Did you see the thing where when you click on a link on Twitter and it takes you to fucking t.co and then redirects you? Apparently that adds a 5-second delay to certain fucking websites.
Yeah, it's like the New York Times and other places that have not been...
If your website's ever been mean to fucking the apartheid, then he makes it take longer to load when someone clicks on a link on your fucking Twitter page.
This is all true, but it's actually not the reason they cited for leaving. The reason they cited is just the fact that getting. Well, actually, that was cited, but the other reason is because they genuinely don't feel they can have their staff run the accounts on it anymore, just from the amount of abuse they get constantly whenever they tweet out anything even remotely political from any direction. They just get right-wing nutjobs in their replies, just being absolutely fascist and crazy at them, and they're just like, Twitter's doing nothing about this. Sorry, X. So they're leaving.
No, Twitter, we're not doing that. Fuck them.
The other issue he's got is apparently this is quite official, demographically noticeable. Black Twitter, the large constellation of black voices on Twitter are all just leaving. They're just jacking it in and leaving, which is only compounding and making the problem of white supremacy on the platform worse. So Twitter's going down in flames, and this probably won't surprise you then that he's got negative cash flow and a 50% drop in ad revenue for Twitter right now.
Well, I can't understand why no one would want to advertise on the fucking Nazi child sex platform, where people are only allowed to look at a limited number of your posts every day.
Can't imagine.
Do you want to boost a post on this platform? We can guarantee at least 7 fucking people on death row will read it.
And also Ted Nugent.
Yeah. It's even gone so far that they've taken my ads for Neom away from me. It's fucking dreadful.
No shit, I've not seen any ads from Neom or anything Neom project adjacent in a while, which makes me wonder if they're pulling out their cash as well. So, yeah.
They've spaffed it all up the fucking wall. Trying to build a giant hexagon in the face of God or whatever the fuck they were doing.
Their new project is apparently a giant... It's a giant gold-plated tower that looks like a fucking dildo, in a very literal sense. So, great for them, I guess.
To be fair, most towers,
Yeah, I know, but this one is particularly...
No, this one really looks like a fucking veiny throbber.
Yeah. It's got ridges for her pleasure. Yeah. It's very cursed.
Fully,
the architect is
realising the dreams of every school child.
Well,
I've been sketching this since I was 12 years old.
Lovingly recreated in gold plating to, I don't know, probably melt in the heat the way things are going. So speaking of just meltdowns, though, we should probably turn to a slightly more serious topic away from this kind of performative bullshit. A little update for you all. Okay, pause in here. David, what's up?
No, just that big sigh from Jamie. Just turning to more serious bullshit, and then just a complete disagreement with the concept of serious bullshit.
Sitting here, fingers crossed, going, energy markets, energy markets, energy markets.
You're going to be disappointed, Rob. As usual with energy markets. No, it's an update. It's an update on a story we covered very recently, which is the asylum seekers being put on a barge.
I love to do a 1 week later update. They're always fucking good.
Yeah, no, they were put on the barge. Good
How
news,
many people died?
No one died on the barge yet. So, good news is we're all back off the barge. Bad news is it's because there was fucking Legionella bacteria discovered on the barge. And they're like, oh shit, we legally can't house these people here until this is dealt with, so they had to get them all back off. Literally,
the fun thing about this is that they should have done this and got the results back before they decided to fucking house anyone there.
Yep.
But health and safety law is a fun one where there's like all sorts of little weird workarounds you can do, and so long as you're doing the bare minimum of due diligence, you're kind of covered, so that's fine. The other side of it is that they didn't fucking tell any of them this was the case. Like, they should have told them immediately, you need to really, like, stop drinking this water and bathing in it, etc., etc. And they just didn't fucking bother.
Yep. So there's a very good chance that, some lefty lawyers will come in and support the case of those asylum seekers who now have a pretty credible case against the Home Office for exposing them to harm. Doubly so if, God forbid, any of them get sick, then, that's going to be a hell of an interesting time. But the good news is
lawyers illegal.
Well, they're working on it. But the good news is they are off the barge for the time being. And I'll be honest, this gnawed at me a bit, and so I did a bit of a Rob, and I asked the question, why the barge anyway? Right? Why is particularly the barge? And so I did a little bit
because
of
some fucking idiot got it cheap.
Well, that fucking idiot in question would be the Bibby Line Group, right? Which is an old UK company that was founded by John Bibby in 1807. Would it surprise you to know that Sir Michael Bibby, BTDL, which means he's a baronet and a deputy lieutenant, is non-executive director and chairman of the board?
It means he's a fucking sandwich.
But yeah, no, Baronet and Deputy Lieutenant Michael Bibby is the chairman of the board. He's also joined by non-executive director Geoffrey Bibby, who sadly doesn't have any titles. Presumably there's no relation.
Is Sooty also on this board, or can I just double check this?
That would be adding class. But yeah, no, presumably there's no relation between either of them and, like, the founder of this, like, ancient company, and the contract for the floating prison was awarded, based on operational merit rather than institutional patronage, right? Like, one would presume it's not just a case of, there's this very old company.
Why would one presume that?
Well, one can't say. Still, it's not just old firms, though, because digging in further, would it surprise you to know that there's an Essex businessman named Graham King?
Probably not.
Could you at least wait until I get the fucking fact out before you go in on it? Could you give me that courtesy?
Sure,
well, that would be funny. But yes, for the record, I can't believe there's a businessman called Graham King. It's not that outlandish a name. I'm sorry, do continue.
I'm just putting the Pingu gif in the chat and walking away at this point. But no, he's pocketing $25 million a year to house migrants across England and Wales, which is more than the British foreign aid budget to Ghana.
This cunt. I saw that. Yeah.
According to the Mail, his previous ventures included running a caravan park, a taxi firm, and a teenage disco. So he's gone from such luxurious heights.
Is that a fucking? Is that a euphemism for something?
Yeah,
illegal?
I was gonna
one couldn't possibly even begin to guess. We presume not, because otherwise he would not be being awarded $25 million a year from the Home Office, right? But yeah, so it's old firms and new are getting in on the action. They're basically being paid just to deal with all of this, and it would almost be kind of bitterly funny if it weren't for the fact that they're getting paid as a consequence of hostile immigration, as an environment and its real human costs, which leads us to the really depressing fact. I don't know if you caught it, but this past week, at least 6 asylum seekers drowned in the Channel. which is just great. It's absolutely fantastic. And Britain's been asking...
If you looked really closely, could you see a BBC reporter wanking himself to death on the shore?
Possibly, because, funnily enough, they did follow up. They decided, who would they ask about this but Bridget Phillipson from Labour.
They asked fuck's sake.
Who?
Yeah, no, they asked Bridget Phillipson from Labour, the shadow education
shadow education.
What would Labour do differently? And
WWLD, yes.
Is she the one that was handing out those leaflets about the traveller incursions that time?
That's a good memory. She might have been.
I don't think that was her.
Hang
on. Traveller
waiting on fact checking.
Sounded the entire fucking podcast Googling at once, but not me. I'm free, motherfucker.
No, I'm not. Baby. I need them to
do it. No, that was Charlotte Nichols.
Ah, right.
Well, they asked her what Labour would do different. What would Labour do, right, Rob? And she mentioned a new cross-border police unit, ending the Rwanda scheme, processing cases more quickly, and getting more return agreements in place. Nothing about safe routes. No real change.
The fuck even is a cross-border police force? They're going to build like half the office in fucking Scotland.
It's the kids from Captain Planet, but like decidedly more unpleasant.
They get one police force in Dover, and they give them like specific training to be less insensitive towards French people. That's it.
Yeah, it's the only five coppers in Britain who, like, when upon not being understood by the French, don't immediately start screaming louder and still in English.
Yeah.
Also, to be honest, Rob, it's definitely not Captain Planet, 'cause I'm pretty certain they wouldn't have any heart. But there you go.
Hey.
So, that's it. That's what we're looking at on the front of just the unfolding tragedy on our borders. It's not getting better. Labour are not going to do anything about it. And we are just kind of facing a slow genocide taking place. So that's fun. If only there was some kind of, way to express kind of social discontent over this, but sadly not. We just have to put up with the fact that we've got two choices that aren't going to do anything.
But I could vote Lib Dem.
You could vote Lib Dem. You could vote Lib Dem. You could vote Lib Dem.
At least if Ed Davey builds a wall, he'll immediately tear it down afterwards.
Yeah.
Still, on the subject of going on a tear, I don't know if you are aware of this, but there's a hot new trend taken off in the United States. Get this for one. At least
libertarianism.
Oh, no. Well, maybe. You can tell me. A group of up to 50 people stormed a mall in LA.
Oh, yeah, this was fucking banging, this.
Yep,
absolutely. We're entering the second golden age of piracy.
Yep, they ran into an upscale mall, used bear spray on the guards, and just started looting shit. Just like straight up, just took shit and then left with it all.
Yeah, this is the way better and way more advanced version of. You remember a couple years ago when like a whole bunch of anime obsessed weirdos wanted to like Naruto run at Area 51 or something? Well, this is better and more productive.
Yeah.
I can't remember like normal things like birthdays of my nearest and dearest, but I can remember that fucking shit. Please come kill me with a hammer.
I thought you were going to compare it to the fucking Rick and Morty like McDonald's sauce incidents.
No, I will never refer to anything except for just to say that we have lists and names.
But this is part of a trend. This has actually been happening repeatedly in major cities in the US. There's been groups of people getting together and just fucking showing up and taking shit and leaving.
Yeah.
Because what are we going to do? The cops, like everyone knows,
it's not a crime. It's not a crime if you don't get caught.
No.
As House of Pain explained at length in the 90s.
and everyone's aware. The cops aren't going to do anything but turn up late and take a statement and offer a ticket. So, all we've got to worry about is the security guards, and apparently Bear Mace will take them down. So, all right. But this is such a trend that it's actually started to spread over here.
Can't wait to see Channel 5's like mid-afternoon fucking like rent-a-cop documentary. You have to deal with this bullshit.
Don't fucking say that, because Rob's going to make us fucking watch it if that happens.
Well, the
I'm
police
not saying that.
Yeah, I know.
The police over here are grumbling because there's been, again, these raids over here in the UK. Police leader calls on TikTok to investigate Oxford Street robbery campaign.
Oh,
is that TikTok's job? Is it?
Well, yes, it is. APCC chair says platform has duty to stop promotion of criminal activity after posts allegedly urged users to target JD Sports.
I can't believe the Chinese government would do this.
The Met fucking like phoning up TikTok and going, look, we couldn't find Sherlock Holmes's number. Can you help?
Last
TikTok
Can you give us that
Simon
GeoGuessr guy, please?
TikTok has hired Simon Baker thinking that he actually is a mentalist and is just like demanding he high-brain people into like just giving the shit back.
So, the Metropolitan Police arrested 9 people and issued 34 dispersal orders after hundreds of teenagers gathered outside JD Sports on the capital's busiest shopping street in apparent response to widely shared posts on Snapchat and TikTok, which urge users to take part in an Oxford Circus JD robbery at 3 p.m. And then, they're going, saying, if you're a parent of children, you should be making them aware that this isn't on, etc., etc. But they're really ginning it up because they're talking about other worrying events, including this challenge on TikTok, which was, who can get in hospital for the longest taking a paracetamol overdose and this kind of hot shit, which didn't happen.
Yes, moral panics.
Yeah, we got a real moral panic going.
Fucking eating it. I'm going to eat a Tide Pod whilst I'm committing a high street robbery.
Yeah.
God, the future is just everything we ever fucking dreamed of, isn't it? Like, you just
it
fucking...
really is, like...
Well, don't worry, Suella Braverman is on it, because on Twitter...
Is she going to get them to take part in the fucking great TikTok police stop, like, fucking molesting and, like, shooting people challenge?
No, she said, on Twitter, which is now known as X, thanks for Guardian, Braverman said, "We cannot allow the kind of lawlessness seen in some American cities to come over to the streets of the UK. The police have my full backing to do whatever necessary to ensure public order. Those responsible must be hunted down and locked up. I expect nothing less from the Met and have requested a full instant report."
I love how every single one of these fucking clean shirt dweebs talks like they're in fucking Tombstone.
Yeah.
We can't tolerate the kind of lawlessness from the American frontier. It's like, oh, fuck off, will you?
Bring them in dead or alive, boys.
Val Kilmer slowly dying of consumption, trying to, like, bring an airport back or something.
Trying to figure out why the fucking, like, CEO of TikTok can't solve crimes.
It's not even a fucking airport, Rob. It's fucking GT Sports. It's a pair of trainers and shit like that. Yeah. Oh, God. Yeah, so this is the new moral panic, and it's like it's
just one of those fucking cop we conducted a raid and this is the hole that we got and it's just a table full of fucking Sports Direct mugs.
Yeah, and it's like the thing is
like 2 mugs.
But yeah, this is based on some like actual fact. People are going in and robbing high-end boutiques, etc. And yeah, people are just kind of looking at it going,
Sports.
Yeah, in the States it's high-end. They're starting small here because in Britain...
Suella Braverman walking into a random JD Sports, going into a random JD Sports and asking people if they're Huckleberry.
So... yeah, it's like it's based on some degree of fact because let's be honest, kids today, a lot of young people are basically going, I'm not getting a pension, I'm probably not getting a future, I'm probably not going to make it to 35, fuck it. So
we're all going to be fucking bleaching in the sun in like 10 years time, so we might as well just like fucking burn everything down now.
Yeah, it's getting a fucking treat in.
Yeah.
That definitely seems like the vibe, and
get your practice in now before you have to raid the bullet farm later.
Exactly. Imagine in a couple of years when you can raid the JD Sports but strapped to the doof wagon, it's going to be so much better. Like,
do not come to depend on JD.
Where does he get the water from? It's in this massive fucking mug.
But yeah, that's your fucking lot. It's all grim, but at least it's a spectacle, right?
Yeah. Is it time for comment or commentariat then?
No, not yet. All right, okay. So, in honour of the heat, why don't we have an article talking about green policy?
because it's shit.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, yeah, it is because it's from the Times.
Oh no!
So
if this is Alistair Heath again, we're gonna have words.
It's not from Alistair Heath. This is from Jason Cowley, who's editor of the New Statesman.
You're writing in the Times. Oh, so this is like a crossover event, but for cunts.
Yeah, does he not have his own fucking newspaper?
No, it's for...
Somebody changed the locks while he was out getting his dinner.
It's the Marvel extravaganza. It's the Disney crossover you didn't know you wanted. It's great.
Okay, so Starmer's populist plan: shut up about green stuff, talk cost of living. Labour must ensure the increasingly divisive eco-agenda does not become the new Brexit.
What?
Yeah.
What?
You know when all the right-wing papers write these like really handy advice pieces for the Labour leadership?
No.
Yeah, with good advice that you should definitely... I always love taking advice from my enemies. You know, who else knows me better than the people who want to see me dead?
Yeah. Yeah, well, Keir Starmer does. He loves this shit because this will absolutely be a framework for Labour in the near future. They won't say it came from this, but it will have. At a recent meeting of Labour's senior leadership team, Deborah Mattinson, Director of Strategy for Keir Starmer, had a bleak message to...
She was also the one who did that polling years ago that said that most voters, when asked what animals Keir Starmer, said he was an eagle. So let's, on the serious scale.
Yeah, what were the options in that poll?
Eagle.
Because when I was fucking looking for commentariat, one of the rejected things was a fucking... and because the Telegraph are the Express, are apparently... like violently censoring everyone in the comment section, but they had an article about how Prince William was voted like the most popular public figure in America, and Prince Harry didn't make the list of 15 people that they asked about. So
where did Diana come though?
Well, she wasn't on the list either apparently. But he beat out Donald Trump and Joe Biden, apparently. Which, I mean, it doesn't sound like a difficult fucking ask, quite frankly. But, yeah, the Express were running a fucking, end run around that because, Prince Harry wasn't even on the list because no one put him on the list of, only 15 people that they were allowed to pick from. And the comments were just full of people crying about being executed because apparently that's, if you're on the Express comments, that's the slang you use when your comment gets deleted for being racist.
Executed.
Oh.
But apparently for a while, if you added emojis, that worked to get around the execution. The executioner couldn't read emojis or something. But they figured it out now. It's like the fucking speech like Michael Biehn gives in Terminator, except incredibly fuckwitted. You know what I mean? The Express's original moderators had rubber skin or some shit. Anyway, I'm sorry. Did you have an article for us?
I do have an article, yeah. In more than 3 decades as a pollster and analyst, she had never known quote, voters...
I'm just double checking that you said pollster and not poster because that's very different advice. You'd probably
I definitely said pollster.
Okay.
She had never known quote voters more pessimistic and insecure.
Yeah, wow. Wonder why.
Yeah,
has she considered going and fucking herself?
Probably not enough. At one all-male focus group, the principal topic of conversation was the price of butter. At another, people began to cry as they discussed their struggles to pay their mortgages and other monthly bills.
Well, has that all-male poll group considered, in order to pay for butter, to do a whimsical strip routine in a small mining village? I hear that works wonders.
The mood is starkly different from when Tony Blair was preparing for power in 1997.
Eat my fucking shit with a spoon.
Honestly, like, right,
Who
let's park the van here for a second, because this is like the fucking shit that drives me insane.
Set fire to it for the insurance, hopefully.
Of course, it's not 1997 again. Like, you know, the wall hasn't just fallen and China hasn't come into the global markets, and you know, there's just an upsurge in economic activity from those things, and you know, we were all under the pretense that things were still good. No, I can't imagine why things are not the same as in 1997.
Maybe if Tony Blair wasn't such a useless cunt and had actually done anything fucking good in his entire life, it might still be 1997.
Mattinson, who worked for both Blair and Gordon Brown and wrote a book about Labour's catastrophic election defeat in 2019.
Wrote a book, you say?
Called The Shadow Cabinet.
No,
yeah,
well,
not about 2010 or 2015.
No, 2019.
Was she busy those years?
Yeah, she was definitely busy in 2017. Definitely couldn't write that one. Back then, people were optimistic, and we were riding a wave of economic growth. Now
you have an entire party dedicated to saying
everything.
nothing can ever be nice ever again. Well,
yeah.
What did you think was going to fucking happen, you fucking dunce?
As well as the cost of living crisis, or perhaps because of it, Labour strategists note another trend, especially among pro-Brexit voters who abandoned the party in red wall constituencies in 2019. Growing scepticism, even alarm about green politics and the commitment to cut greenhouse gas emissions to net zero by 2050. By 2050!
Is growing scepticism Labour's new plan for like fucking agriculture?
Also, like, I wonder where all that skepticism is like coming from all of a sudden. You know, like, why are people all of a sudden like made totally insane about like low emission zones? Surely this is just their. Surely this is their natural feeling that they have come by, you know, or talk to me like it's fine.
Millennials killed the rational discourse industry.
I wish. The question, therefore, troubling Labour strategists during these quiet weeks of recess is this: will the climate question come to occupy the space that Europe has done in British politics?
Oh, fucking
will it become,
Christ,
as Brexit did, a proxy class culture war? Class culture war, that's fucking great.
Class culture.
Pitting what the American writer Michael Lind caricatures as the metropolitan overclass against the mostly suburban, multiracial working class in Western democracies.
Is it Michael Lind? Is it he that cunt? Yes, no, he is. He's that cunt that we read a few weeks ago. He wrote that op-ed in the New Statesman saying that not having people in cars is actually class war. He's also a raging and insane, you know, American previous libertarian and now, you know, Democrat. Wrote a book in 1999, by the way, sidetrack, called Vietnam: The Necessary War. No, I will not be explaining further.
Yeah.
I mean, it was for the Vietnamese.
I mean, you know, like, I'm not going to... we shan't speculate, but it would be interesting to work out whether or not Michael Lind and his fat fucking gopher face have any connections to or financial relations with, you know, the oil and gas industry. I don't know whether or not he does. Genuinely, I don't. But, you know, it would be worth something considering.
Much to think about. Already, we are witnessing different kinds of climate protest in Britain. Highly motivated groups such as Just Stop Oil and Extinction Rebellion, with their prominent funders, there's no brackets around that, but I can see them, draw much of their network of support from the university-educated middle classes. And this summer, they have disrupted events such as Wimbledon and an Ashes test match.
That's almost interesting, because like that kind of language, you know, like the middle class support and the networks and the funding, you know, what is it now? 40 years ago, they could have written almost this exact sentence, but they could have swapped in the IRA.
Yeah,
because it's that. Because
these articles are just the exact same fucking horse shit week after week. You know, it's like all the fucking people, the university, the elites, the fucking metropolitans, ooh, they're coming to fucking get you. Like, honestly, like, fucking, I don't care who's coming to get me, as long as it fucking like means I don't have to listen to this fucking bullshit.
Yeah.
Because all that ever changes is it gets more and like the language gets more and more fucking like florid, and it makes me think more and more that I'm having a fucking stroke as I try and pass the sentences.
But there are also other more subterranean pro-car, anti-green forces emerging.
What is this about? Fucking Hyperloop?
No, these are the pro-car Morlocks, I think.
Yeah, mole people rise up. In Oxford in February, for instance, thousands marched against the local authorities' plan for a 15-minute city.
They're insane.
By 2040.
Sorry, I can't stress this enough. The people who are willing to go out on a march against like low emission zones in 50-minute cities are your dad who's been driven insane by Facebook, like that. AI or not, like that. Those are not people that you can like be reasoned with. They're not like a sort of rational constituency in some kind of Rousseau-like model of the ideal state. Those people have gone entirely around the bend because like their kids won't talk to them anymore, and the only thing that still does is the fucking sat nav, and it's telling these people to kill, and it's not normal.
Labour was especially chastened by its failure to win the Uxbridge and South Ruislip by-election.
Oh, Jesus fucking... Right, there was a really good piece.
In large part...
I really need to start smoking again.
Yeah.
In large part because of opposition to the ultra-low emission zone, which levies a daily charge of £12.50 on drivers of more polluting cars. Right. Can I cut it now? Can I just have a little moment here?
Yeah. There was a very good piece, and if we won't forget, which we probably will, but sucks to be us, in The Guardian a little while ago by Aditya Chakraborty, specifically over that election, where everybody and their idiot friends said, "Oh, this is about you, Les," and he'd actually gone there and talked to people instead of just like taking the accepted wisdom, and it turned out that much more was that the Labour had parachuted in like a dog dick campaigner that nobody ever heard about. Everybody, like all the volunteers stayed home, because why the fuck would you volunteer for that kind of shit? And then, they just let it run, and they just had no answer because they had no positive answer. They had no positive thing to give. So the Tory freak show, the guy who did run on ULEZ, was like, given a clear field. Like, that's why they lost. It's not the fucking ULEZ, it's because Labour is dog shit. Like, I'm sorry, but we can't be doing that. You can't be doing this every single fucking time. And just this insane received wisdom of, it was ULEZ. It's like, it categorically fucking wasn't.
But have you considered that everyone in power wants rid of the ULEZ?
I don't think they even do. I think it's just like some weird shit to like clasp onto. I think probably there's like I wouldn't be surprised at all if like the car manufacturers are like spreading some money about to like curtail them. But like I don't think there's like an elite sort of conspiracy to keep the ULEZ down.
I actually have a bit of an inside scoop on this. So there's a couple of things, and your intuition's right there, Rob. So yes, car manufacturers have been a little bit annoyed by it, but not that much, honestly, because ULEZ primarily targets older vehicles, and the manufacturers all kind of accept it's going electric anyway. So, not as much as you would expect. The real reason this is becoming a thing is actually twofold. On the Conservative side, it's actually dead simple. They are going to essentially tie Keir Starmer to just stop oil, pro-green, and that means they then get to radicalise and create their motorist political class as their election gambit. That's what they're doing. The Labour side is Labour fucking hates anyone who isn't in the leadership office or directly appointed by the leadership office. So the Mayor of London, Andy Burnham, all the rest of them, they fucking hate them because they consider them like a threat, someone who could go off script, can disagree and have some support and platform. And so because ULEZ is all London-based, that's why they're going for this shit. That's their reason for it, is pure Labour, like spiteful, stab each other, not in the back but in the front kind of politics. And that's what the driving animus is.
Well, I was also briefly reminded, sorry, James, just to sort of support your story, in 2019 when Labour lost Hartlepool, right after that, you had Luke the Nuke saying, actually, the reason that we lost was because Labour didn't chase after car drivers enough. And he was on Twitter again right after this one saying, see, I was right all along.
Yeah, but it's like, it's a constructed pretext to justify the political action, which is about getting rid of people they don't like and applying pressure toward that end. And you say, Rob, to kind of bring this around, you say that they can't just keep making up stories. They can, in a controlled political system where you've got two choices and both of them are captured, bluntly. Then
yeah, I know you're right, but
they can create whatever pretext they want, and what are you going to do, not vote? Like, this is how it is.
Yes.
Like,
JD Sports.
We've genuinely moved into straight up political pageantry territory where Britain doesn't have functioning politics. It's all just theatre. And the actual, there's no political action. It's all hard-nosed, behind-the-scenes donors getting their backs kind of scratched in exchange for, whatever cushy speaking gigs are set up when politicians leave office. Like, that's Britain now. And all the rest of it is just, they're going to play out their internal petty politics to fight over who gets access to the throne of shell money or whatever. And we just...
Once again, 2015 to 2019 was an aberration.
That's why they turned on it so much. It was, for a second, here's like some actual politics happening. And I think that terrified the right more than anything, just because suddenly they had to actually do politics, and they quickly discovered they weren't very good at it. But it's okay, the corporations had their back.
Yeah. Anyway, back to this wonderful article. Sadiq Khan, the Labour Mayor of London, is a green politics evangelist. He has not.
This is just given.
He's shit.
He is shit, and this is not even like, he doesn't actually think this. What's basically going on is he's doing two things with this article. One of them is he's signalling like, hey, it's Keir Starmer, Labour, Capital wants you to take these policy positions. The other thing he's doing is, in exchange, here is some fodder and ammunition by which you can go after your political rival, Sadiq Khan. It's just naked.
Imagine being, I can imagine it, not really, because I'm, not that particular type of psycho, but like working in Labour HQ and thinking that honestly, like the biggest threat to your position and survival is, noted radicalist Sadiq Khan, like the word, like the dictionary definition of milquetoast, honestly, like Jesus Christ.
Their fear, I think part of their fear is they just don't want to leave any avenue by which challenge should come up. They don't want to leave it in play, and I think Sadiq Khan, it's less about Sadiq Khan than it is the existence of London Mayor. And I think they see down the road, they're like, well, what if Corbyn ran for London Mayor and got it? Could he use that as a platform? Can we do something to undermine the platform now? I think that's kind of where their minds are at, because they're paranoid fuck shits,
Khan has extended the zone to what the novelist J.G. Ballard used to
call
call the television suburbs in the outer London boroughs to force, Khan says, nudge older diesel and petrol vehicles off the road.
It's not a force. It's not. That's not what ULEZ does.
But it does, though. But it does. Are you going to disprove it? Disprove it, go. See, you can't.
It's so nice that these. I sometimes it's nice to remind myself that like the New Statesman in the very loosest, the very possible loosest of terms is still like nominally a left wing or like a social democratic magazine, and like this just weaseling little cunt just shimmying around, going, oh, actually, Sadiq Khan, when he's not trying to secretly feed your children the Quran, is coming for your fucking car.
It's
the
great.
way that you know that it's a social democratic publication is that this guy's actually writing this in the Times.
And it's great too, because like David, you're saying like, prove it, go on, you can't. And it's like, here's the thing. If you use complex words to prove it, if you take too long, then they go, that's just a load of bollocks. And there's nothing to say, because if it's not stupid, then it doesn't count as part of a discourse, does it, mate? And then on the other hand, if you do come up with a simple, like populist, easy way to explain it, they'll just ignore it. Like, they'll just ignore it. They have the megaphone, go fuck yourself. So, actual facts don't matter in British politics anymore. Like,
I'm sorry, but I think you'll find that debate is actually a cornerstone of this society, and it should be upheld at all times.
I know you're being facetious, but go fuck yourself, seriously. Like, right. The annoying thing is, like, you know the whole Trump post-fact politics that the Americans screamed out, etc. We've actually got that now. Genuinely, the UK is a post-factual political...
Yeah, I mean, not just Trump. Like, that was like... Remember how we were all very angry about fake news for a while, until we weren't supposed to be anymore. It just dropped off the radar.
Yeah,
not me, I've always been pro-fake news.
Yeah, and it's like... It's totally fucked. It's beyond the pale, and... You know, in America, they've momentarily managed to get a little bit of a handle on this shit, but this is the direction of things. As the actual politics content shrinks to zero, they just nakedly will just make shit up to fill the void, because there's no politics happening, but they need to put on the show that politics is happening, and they need to talk about anything other than things as they actually are.
David, as I mentioned at the start of this episode, it's 32 degrees here, and I'm fucking sweltering, and, you know... Things are not going well up in the high mountains, my favourite place, to put it very fucking mildly. Please let whoever this fucking cunt is again, explain to me what we're actually supposed to be doing.
Okay. Well, first we need to explain why Uxbridge went so badly. Uxbridge was totemic for Labour because it was Boris Johnson's former seat. And since the by-election defeat... I know.
Just the mountains are melting, but first we must talk about Uxbridge.
Yeah, we must, yes. Since the by-election defeat, Starmer has recalibrated the party's approach to net zero. Blair...
Recalibrated? That's a fucking word and a half. Yeah, right.
Blair, more influential in the leadership than at any time since he left office, has warned Starmer that the energy transition must not disadvantage what Labour likes to call working people.
Oh,
not even Labour now speaks of the working class. Starmer's Labour is defined by its caution.
No, what do you mean now? They'd stopped doing that under Blair. This is just bad historiography. Under Blair, they stopped doing that as well. They started talking about working class people, then it became working people, then it became average people, average families. This is not new. I beg someone to have some fucking memory in this asinine country.
Rob, I don't know what you're talking about. The Jeremy Corbyn years lasted an entire fucking epoch, and it's only through sheer will that we managed to survive that unscathed. Yeah. Starmer's Labour is defined by its caution and absence of radical ambition. It's true.
Yes.
The aim...
That's what you asked for!
Yeah. The aim is to do as little as possible to cause offence or unease among voters between now and the general election next year. We must be steady, reassuring, pragmatic, one senior aide told me. This narrow win-at-all-cost strategy, as Neil Lawson, head of the Compass campaign group, calls it, infuriates the left. But even the most Starmer-sceptic Labour MP, after 13 years of futile opposition, is desperate for power.
It's not, wasn't...
Yeah. Well, this is why John McDonnell keeps writing letters, isn't it?
I can't be fucking dealing with this just denial of reality shit. Just...
For all his caution, or if you want some denial of fucking reality, for all of his caution, Starmer is an astute observer of the national moods.
No, he's not!
Oh, fuck. All the way off.
He is a realist and adapts to the world as he finds it, not as he wishes it to be.
Why are you carrying on after that, man? Surely
His political instincts are those of a soft authoritarian.
This is the shit they like. You know when they say just complete horseshit about Buttigieg and how he has the youthful and he's got his finger.
Yeah,
it's exactly the same shit, except even more naked somehow. Just amazing.
His youthful experiments with countercultural socialism have long since been abandoned. And he will do.
Are you out of your fucking tree?
Oh, that is a beautiful little bit of just sophistry going on there. Basically, what they're basically doing is, in the same article as they're laying out to Starmer, here's what Capital wants. They're also going to Starmer, and look, here's how we will justify you to Capital. Don't worry, Capital, he's not really a socialist. He was just doing countercultural flirtation. It was safe and marketable. Don't worry about it.
Counterculture? Are you fucking out of your mind?
Youthful experiments with countercultural socialism as well. They're literally talking about that one fucking photo where he looks like a new romantic, aren't they?
He will do whatever he believes is necessary to win. This explains his reluctance to say anything positive about the EU. Would a retreat...
It wouldn't be the New Statesman without these people having another fucking hissy fit about the European Union.
Yeah. Would a retreat from net zero targets be a compromise too far, however? Not just for the left, always alert to betrayal, but everyone for whom the climate emergency is the defining crisis
always
of our times.
Always alert to betrayal.
Yeah.
Sleep with one eye open, my friend.
Yeah. If we were always alert to betrayal, we'd be living in a much better fucking world at the moment.
Yes.
Oh wow, way to go in on a sizable portion of our audience.
How, even if you're the kind of fuckwit who writes this horse shit for a living, how do you justify saying that the left are always alert to betrayal when your entire fucking like raison d'etre is screaming about how much the Red Wall was betrayed?
Yeah, do think about it.
Yeah, don't inquire about that. Also, don't ask a question about if the left's always alert to betrayal. Why did Corbyn staff his cabinet, his shadow cabinet, with so many absolute like dangers and allow them to like knife him repeatedly right in the back?
Because there wasn't anyone else available. Like Labour's just like 90% complete dangers by weight.
Yeah. What they should, unironically, they should have given Diane Abbott 14 jobs.
Yeah.
Like, because that would have sent all of them completely fucking insane, and it would have been funny.
14 jobs and a shotgun.
Rachel Reeves, the Shadow Chancellor, has already reneged on a pledge to spend $28 billion a year on capital spending for, quote, green growth. And there is tension at the top of the party between those who believe the righteous performative style of politics of Ed Miliband...
Oh my God.
Righteous performative. Am I tough enough? Hell yeah, I'm tough enough. Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
Is electorally toxic, and those who say he articulates the anxieties of the age. Starmer remains committed to net zero, but will change how his shadow cabinet speaks, quote, about the green stuff.
I don't even think the cunt's committed to net curtains, to be fair.
No. I think he would strangle your grandmother with her own net curtains if he thought it would get him one more racist in Uxbridge and Flillen, wherever the fuck that is.
I don't even think you would do it for the vote. I think you would do it just so that like Jeremy Clarkson might be nice to him if they ever met in the fucking like supermarket.
Yeah.
The backdrop is the cost of living crisis, and green politics must be about jobs. Reducing prices and energy security. It's a patriotic mission, not an elite project.
Right. So, I don't know.
Just take a minute.
I don't know if people noticed. It was quite widely shared on Twitter, so I'm assuming some people have seen it or on Blue Sky or wherever the fuck, or they read the FT if they're cool like me. But you know, like
give over
the entire, but like the entire fucking not the entire, but like most of the olive oil harvest in Spain, the oil harvesters has failed because it's so hot and so dry. Hence, the price for a staple crop like olive oil has shot up by like a factor of 6. If it's super dry, like it is right now in Italy, for example, the Po Valley, which is like a breadbasket for Europe and has been since before the Roman times, is also dying on its ass. That also works its way into things like, like inflation and the shit you pay for food, never mind the gas you put in the fucking tank. These things are related. They're not separate. You can't just say it's not. These things are so vitally interconnected to just say, actually, no, we're not going to do anything green because we're focused on the jobs and the economy. It may not seem like this because the UK is built on the City of London, which is basically flim flam and magic and pushing bits of paper around. But at the end, at root, at heart, and at the bottom of it, the fucking economy is still based on the material function in this world. And the planet's fucking dying, Cloud!
Have you considered, Rob, though, that we can just eat money?
I can't... This is... You're just doing shit that won't work to satisfy people that will hate you always and forever. There's no... You can't please the Top Gear psycho. There is these people... Labour seems to have got it into their heads, and it did the same at the end of in the really later Blair era, where they stopped looking at specific shards of a composition that they could peel off and form a coalition around, and they started talking that they needed to please everybody. The people of Great Britain needed to be happy with them. Everybody needed to be on board. It's years ago that the Chapo Trap House did a review of that awful book by that awful Pod Save America podcast, where they made the same point. Yep. It's oh, you need to get all the votes. It's no, you don't. You need to get enough of a coalition together to get yourself in power to do the things, to change the things that need changing. That is the change you want to bring. That is that is the actual thing you need to do. You cannot please everybody.
Yeah, it's the fallacy of political capital. Political capital doesn't exist.
It's bollocks. It's made up.
Concept. You do not have a tank of political capital that when you spend it, it's gone. What you have is a coalition of people who you play to, who then like what you do and continue to support you for as long as you play to them.
And those people are called Rupert Murdoch.
Yeah. It's just, you're not wrong, Rob. It is just complete horseshit. And like you said, planet's dying, Cloud, to which the reply is, Keir Starmer, I don't care. Straight from the game. So,
we've been playing this idiot game for 40 fucking years now, since, if you want to put a date on it, 1982, it's the James Hansen from NASA testimony to the US Senate. I mean, it was known before then, and certainly known much longer before then by the oil companies, but let's just pick a date any day. For 40 fucking years, we've played this stupid fucking game saying, yeah, we want to be green, but the line, or but the jobs, or the whatever. It's always the same fucking thing. Look at where we are now.
We want to ensure a fucking, a livable planet for future generations, but have you considered, fuck those penguins?
Just...
Pengu's got it coming, frankly.
I mean, just to recycle a joke from yours, JB, from a couple of episodes ago, if the penguins die, we are going to find out that they were the animals, keeping the gravity switch down or some other fucking bullshit.
It's always something like that, though, isn't it? It's it turns out we fucked this thing completely, and, it was important somehow, and it's well, motherfucker.
We told you! We warned you!
Yeah, there's a fucking... Imagine a Greek chorus of scientists standing off frame talking about the hubris and insanity.
And then the most beautiful thing is, they ended on this sort of the brown note of saying, oh, well, just stop oil with their backers and their, schemes and plots. It's motherfucker, you ain't seen nothing yet. You think, you look at the timeline of the polite demonstrations of, and now it's just stop oil, and they're just walking down the street. These are polite, mainly middle-class people who just walk slowly down the street saying, can you please stop killing the planet? I mean, this is an accelerating timeline as well. I won't call for it, but I'm going to make it.
I'm not sure what point you're getting to, but I'll fucking call for it.
In under 5 years, somebody's going to fucking... it will happen.
Yeah, now
we're on that fucking timeline now. We are never put on our own. This is the linear.
I am looking forward to doing the fucking podcast about that.
You cretinous pricks with your suits on and your moderate plans. You're gonna end up at this point. And then, of course, because you're liberals, way before that, but certainly at that point, you will just turn to the fascists and say, please, Mr. Brownshirt, can you clean up these nasty environmental activists? Fuck you people. Yeah. Fuck whoever wrote this. Sorry, David, keep reading.
I'm going to. They've not finished yet. In Ballard's
For the love of Christ.
In Ballard's novel Millennium People, middle-class residents of an outer London gated community near Heathrow revolt against what they believe to be the intolerable state of society. The 2003 novel was read as fantasy at the time, but as usual, Ballard knew what lay ahead. Today, the middle classes are revolting, and much of their
they are
anger is
revolting,
directed,
but not in the way you particularly mean.
And much of their anger is directed at the anti-green lobby and perceived failures by governments to act on the climate emergency. Meanwhile, in the television suburbs, resentment about net zero and the green revolution sees.
Yeah, I love the suburbs where uniquely televisions can be found.
Yeah.
Unlike everywhere else, the suburbs are where the televisions are just...
They're not monocultural landscapes. There are people who take the bus to the suburbs. There are people who donate to Greenpeace in the suburbs. There are also car maniacs in whatever it was, in Greenpeaceville, or whatever the fucking bullshit is that guy was just talking about. Like, these are not monocultural flat landscapes. It's not... Deborah Mattinson with a fucking head injury is trying to tell you that these are just like places where only Jeremy Clarksons live. It's not true. And the reason people get upset about 50-minute cities, which is the only reasonable way you should be upset about them, is people introduce them and then not offer you an alternative like good public transport.
Right. Well, that's all well and good, Rob, but you've never done any of the polling for GM Flatgrass on Thames, so there's nothing say here that's qualified.
No.
Throughout Western democracies, far right...
It goes on.
It does. Far right and anti-liberal outsider parties, the Farmer Citizen movement in the Netherlands.
Those fucking cunts.
the Sweden
We should
Democrats.
make that the free square on the fucking cunt bingo.
Did you pick this article to try and make Rob's head pop like an balloon?
No.
Because...
No, Rob just like that.
Idiot
just collateral.
backward.
We could be reading Mr. Men books and Rob would be fucking screaming and biting the table back there.
Like, my idiot backward splintering fucking political economy from whence I originally derived is not your costume, you fucking piece of shit.
Fucking rich of you to talk about people's costumes.
The Sweden Democrats, the AFD in Germany, are
Racists
rising in part...
is what I'm getting from this list.
Yeah, that's just a list of racists.
Are rising in part through adeptly exploiting voters' hostility to eco-taxes, green levies, and net zero politics.
Yes, and the promotion of racisms. And, the big honking swastikas everywhere.
Yeah. You see that fucking clown from the AFD who apparently like fucking blacked his own eyes and claimed a big lad did it and run away?
Yeah. I hope someone gives him an idea of what it's actually like. It's more difficult in Britain because of first past the post for outsider parties to break through. Nigel Farage's UKIP won nearly 4 million votes at the 2015 general election and ended up with 1 MP. But
he moved the entire Tory party in his direction. If you look at the UKIP manifesto from 5 years ago...
That's not what counts, Rob. Like, what counts is the number of fucking colours on the chart that Jon Snow uses on election night. Like, that's the important thing. Is like if you're the blue team, you need more blue seats. Material politics are like fake bullshit that nerds made up. It's all about like the fucking
vibes,
numbers.
Yeah, sorry, I forgot that.
What I love about those colours on election night is every colour will feature apart from the colour green, but mysteriously every year other seems to get larger and larger, which is fantastic.
Yeah, or none. Yeah, like...
Yeah.
Sorry, David. I'm sure it was interesting.
Farage and his, quote, People's Army still transformed British politics, just as the Scottish independence movement did destroying the settled expectations of Westminster elites for a generation.
Hey, Rob, can you just make some noises for me on my behalf? I'd appreciate it.
I'm sure Dave can copy-paste something in. I mean, I don't think I've ever been recorded, so far as I know.
Encouraged by Labour's difficulties in Uxbridge, Sunak has demonstrated he wants to be a belligerent in the intensifying Green Wars, but Starmer will avoid direct combat. He has learned from his experiences over Brexit when he led the campaign for a second referendum from inside Jeremy Corbyn's shadow cabinet and lost. This time, he will be more pragmatic and intends to win.
Led
Good
is
for
doing
that
a lot of
motherfucker.
work there.
Oh,
He led from inside. Fuck off.
Also,
Yeah.
the point of him doing that from inside Jeremy Corbyn's cabinet had nothing to do with winning the actual referendum. I mean, that should be anything.
It's almost as if a second referendum was never the point.
Yeah, well, let's not say things we can't take back, but yeah.
I mean, hang on. We very nearly fucking had a second referendum, in the pipeline, but then the Lib Dems, the Cuttigs, the Green, Caroline Lucas, they all just fucked it because we didn't want to give anything approximating a win to Labour under Corbyn. So, it's a bit, don't cry, you got what you wanted in a nutshell.
Yeah. So that's exactly it. I mean, this kind of article. I've seen a couple of these. This was the one that I chose to read. There was another one by Patrick Maguire, also in the Times, only 3 days earlier. Very much of
exactly the same.
Here's some policy, you should pick it up. Yeah, but that one was more about Lee Anderson and how they just need to accept that Lee Anderson is an unstoppable force that they have no chance of beating unless they use this one weird trick of being brave and talking about immigration in the right way.
So brave.
You're going to get a lot of these articles coming out, especially as we do this fucking weird phase of there is an election coming up, but we don't know exactly when, and also it's still not really that close. So yeah, expect a fair wee whack of these, but I'll try and find some that aren't from the Times because it's easier to read those fucking articles.
Right, is it mercifully over now? Can I,
Womp womp. No, you fucking can't, Jamie.
Here we go.
All right, no, I'm good with this. This is just good time.
No deterrence will work. Why? The United Kingdom is a soft touch. We spend more than £50,000 per migrant per annum, the French £5,000. We are 10 times as generous. Would-be migrants are not being deterred from the United Kingdom. They're being attracted here by ridiculous British generosity. The total bill for housing, feeding and caring for illegal migrants was a staggering £3.7 billion in 2022. Money we cannot afford at the best of times, let alone in a cost of living crisis when national debt and taxes are already at record highs. Comment or commentariat?
Commentariat.
Commentariat.
That was commentariat. It was Ben Habib in the Telegraph.
Oh, okay.
It is amazing to see an influential person in public unafraid of a silent pause, the cardinal sin of modern media, to consider his answer and deliver it in a coherent and articulate manner. If only our leaders behaved with a fraction of that level of awareness, where would our various communities, societies, nations, and humanity in general be today? Comment or commentariat?
Wow.
Who's this a reference to?
Commentariat.
Comment.
What did you say, David?
I said comment.
Well, that was a comment. It was a comment on an interview with Jordan B. Peterson.
Oh my god!
Which I realised I've written down wrong because I've written down GB News, but it wasn't. I think it was the Telegraph. Can't remember. Anyway, who cares? No one really gives a shit where these were from. Right, brace yourselves. So how is this conundrum to be resolved? One suggestion has been made in a thoughtful article by David Brooks, a writer at the New York Times.
Uh-oh.
Reflecting on the story anti-Trumpers like him tell themselves that they are that they, as the forces of progress and enlightenment, are the good guys, while the Trumpers are reactionary bigots and authoritarians, he nevertheless calls this a monument to elite self-satisfaction. His elitist circle, he writes, built for itself an entire social order of power and privilege and locked everyone else out. Along came Trump, who understood the great demand for a leader who would stick his thumb in the eyes of those elites and reject the entire edifice they had built. That's why, however many indictments he faces, his core support will only increase. So even though Brooks still thinks Trump is a monster who deserves to go to prison, the questions he asks of his own side are, what if we're the bad guys here? When will we stop behaving in ways that make Trumpism inevitable? Ultimately, though, while there's right on both sides, these are existential civilizational issues over which a choice must be made between cultural inheritance and ground zero. So the slugfest must continue until one side defeats the other, and depending on which side you're on, you hope the right one wins. Yet whatever view you take, asking yourself, does the other side have a point? What did we do to cause how they think? And what if we're the bad guys here is a good way to help civilize otherwise dangerous passions. Comment or commentariat?
Jesus fucking...
That's commentariat.
That's commentariat. That smells like something from The Guardian or The Independent.
Yeah, that's commentariat.
Yeah, that was from an article called "We Could All Make the Culture Wars Less Toxic" by Melanie fucking Phillips, of all people.
Oh,
Yeah.
just
The mass
yes.
shooter's favourite.
I was going to say the manifesto's writer's favourite citation. Yes.
Right, last one. I'm going to finish on a high.
Oh God.
After the massive improvement in A-level results during the pandemic, when schools were allowed to grade pupils themselves, and literally all of them cheated, brackets, which is weird, because they are endlessly telling their pupils not to cheat, so they must be aware that cheating is wrong. The Education Secretary has warned that there will be a huge downturn in grades this year, with around 75,000 fewer A-star and A grades compared to the recent norm. And that worries me, because, brace yourselves for this, where are the newspaper photographers going to find the critical mass of hot blonde girls in summer dresses jumping in the air while holding bits of paper to put on the front page?
Ho, 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 ho,
Whoa, ho, ho.
Will they attempt to reflect the grimness of this year's results by instead featuring a row of hot blonde girls in summer dresses holding bits of paper and looking miserable? Or will they perhaps try to persuade a row of hot blonde girls in summer dresses that getting a load of B's and C's is worth jumping in the air about? It is a real quandary, and I await Thursday's front pages in sweaty anticipation, as usual.
Fucking hell.
Comment or commentary?
Rod Liddell.
This is
well, whoever it is at the bottom of their desk is sticky. Like that's very clear.
Which one was the one? Was that Rod Liddell or the other one that said that they couldn't be a teacher because they were definitely nonce?
That was Rod Liddell.
Okay, I'm going to say Rod Liddell.
I don't think. You know what? Actually, it's brazen enough. It could be. Yeah. All right. Let's go with Rod Liddell.
That was Giles Cunting Corrin.
He's the one who had the sexiest date ever with his
with his 6-year-old daughter.
Holiday ever with his
writing.
Rod Liddell.
Yeah, because I can't stop because I can't stop remembering this. Where he talked about his 6-year-old daughter's plump little lips.
Oh.
Yeah, him that did the tweet where he complained that his neighbour's kid had a drum kit, so he was going to fuck them and burn them.
Yes.
Jesus Christ.
For sale, one child partially burnt and fucked. Or something was this hilarious fucking...
Yes,
patter.
It was.
Fucking hell.
I nearly didn't find that as well, because it wasn't the headline piece. His comment, his fucking column was 3 distinct topics, and that was the middle one.
I hate when they do that.
He does that all the
that
time.
was the middle one.
Section.
That was the
Lazy
middle one, and
cunt.
I was like, I'll have a look, because the first one was about fucking foxes in the bins or something, and I thought, well, I'll have a look at that. Like maybe he's got some insane takes about the bins, and then I went down and I saw that, and I was just like, holy fuck, he's just. You just can't fucking stop the man.
But you can. Oh. That's definitely might slow him down.
You can.
Oh.
And what's more, you should. But yeah, that's it for this week.
Thank fuck for that. Okay, well, let's just fucking finish up, shall we? So
let's all fuck off and read that Blue Sky thread.
On the note of that wonderful drill posts as Andor scenes, we will have the next episode of the Andor review out soon. I pretty sure I said this last week and still haven't fucking done it yet, but it will come out soon. It is recorded. The next 3 episodes worth of it are good to go, beyond the fact that I've not started editing them yet. But yeah, so look forward to that out on free feed shortly, and bonus episode will be due out at some point in the next week or 2 as well. So you can get that at patreon.com/praxiscast. You can see us do streams on Twitch. That's twitch.tv/praxiscast on Wednesdays and Thursdays, around 7 o'clock, 7:30. And
7 on Wednesdays, 8 on Thursdays. But it depends on like how shit the fucking world's being on that particular day.
Yeah, so maybe like expect a level of professionalism you would ascribe to us as to whether or not we'll be live. Merch is also available. That is praxiscast.tmail.com, and that's all I've got. That's all we've got. Let's go. Bye.
I was going to say as well.
Fuck's sake!
If you want to know the kind of like hilarious fucking antics that go on our Discord, we put the last bonus clip, which was a multimedia experience, on the YouTube. So go and look at that and then give us money.
Yeah. Do it now.
Okay, bye.
Bye.
Bye.